Alright, well, went ahead and finished coating with the latex or the silicone over top of the fabric, and then went ahead and went on around it. So now I'm going to apply the, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th coat. So we're going to apply the 5th coat to this. I hope these videos turn out well. You can understand it. But we're going on with the 5th coat. Something that you're going to want to start doing is filling in a lot of the recessed areas. You don't glob it all in there all at once, because it just takes longer for it to dry. But eventually you'll want to try to make this thing as round as possible for your mold. So you can see I'm almost done putting on, I guess, the 5th coat. So this is going over the coating of the cloth. As you can see, I'm starting to fill in the eyeballs areas a little bit more, nose area, trying to get it as smooth as possible. Or not smooth, but level. Makes it easier on casting the plaster. That way you don't have a bunch of dips and stuff that you gotta fill in. It makes it harder for the plaster to be removed. There's that section. Wear latex gloves. Makes it nicer to work with. Okay, something that I haven't done on previous molds that I thought I would try out on this one is I lay down a great big thick bead of silicone down the middle of where I'm going to put my seam. So I'm hoping that will help alleviate the crease line, even though I don't think it will, but it's worth a shot. So there is the big thick piece that I laid down. So that's about it of that. The only thing I want to do now is go ahead and fill in the eye sockets a little bit. There's cavities on each side, fill in those. So try to get this thing now as perfectly round, I guess, so that way when I put on the plaster will just be able to slide right off, so you haven't to try to fight with it. So there's that. Well, the next part of this is the fun part. This is where we start adding plaster. So first what we're going to do is made a ring, clay, there on the bottom of it. And then we made a small ring across the bottom of the skull. And we'll place it down there for now. But what we're going to do next is put a piece of clay down through the center, front and back, and then build up a wall around the entire skull. So I'll show you what that looks like here in a few. Alright, I put on probably about 3 coats of plaster. Probably overkill for this. It'll definitely weigh a ton when it's all actually over and done with. So remove the clay from the mold here, and removed it from the bottom pieces of the separation. I still got the mold as the base down there on the bottom, and I still have the clay going around the bottom of it. So next what's going to happen is I'm going to coat all the edges of the plaster with Vaseline, and then of course I'm going to coat all the outside ridges with Vaseline, and then I'll start working on putting plaster on this side. So see ya when I get some more done. Okay, I just laid on one coat of plaster on the other side, so probably 2 more coats of plaster and that'll be done on that portion of it. Show you some more here in a few. Okay, I put on the second coat of plaster on this side, so 1 more coat and hopefully I'll be done with this part of it. Okay, just put on the third coat of plaster on the other half. So after this dries, we'll remove the clay around the bottom of it, pick it up off the cardboard, and then we'll have to make a mold of the underneath center. Alright, see ya. Alright, I pulled off all of the clay around the edges of it, and just wanted to show you something. I used cardboard to save my table, and when I first did the first part of the plaster, I didn't coat the cardboard with anything, so the cardboard was kind of stuck to the plaster. This side I coated it with vegetable oil spray. It did not stick, so it's always a good idea to use some type of oil or release agent so it doesn't stick to everything. And as you can see, it pulls off very easily. And there you can see the clay that I made the round ring on. So pull that out. Pull out the skull itself. So there's my skull, still all intact inside its stuff. So here's my plaster. Keep it all intact. Next thing to do is to make a cast of the middle section. Skull back in. And now we're going to coat the center of it with plaster. Yeah, here is the skull. I cut out the hole in the bottom of it, poured the plaster resin mix into it, and made a slit through here and halfway around. And good chances are you'll have some sort of line going through your skull. If you make it out of plaster, you can sand it out, and some of the resin ones, if you make it thick enough, you can also sand those out. But there is the skull, and there's the little piece that I cut out, the round piece. So I'm going to mix up some plaster and pour it in there and show you what that looks like. And I want to make it a hollow skull instead of a solid skull. So I'll show you the finished product. I poured the plaster in the mold. It's only been sitting for probably about 30 minutes or so, but I'm going to go ahead and see what it looks like. And I got the two halves put together with bungee cord, keep them intact. So we'll just see what it looks like. Hopefully it turned out all right. Just I figure there's going to be a seam. Thought there was. Oh well. This is plaster. It's easy to sand off. Yeah. There's that. Still pretty warm to the touch, but go ahead and just snap that off. But I almost got it right down the center where the original seam of the skull was, so ain't too bad. So there's a skull made out of plaster. It's hollow. So it's not late. A couple ideas is you could probably knock out the eyes. Since it's still soft, I can probably do this. Probably better off to use a Dremel, but as you can see, it's hollow inside of it. So something you could do is, put a light fixture in it, candle, something. But there you go, one skull done. And there's what it all is.